Okay guys, something cool you should know. There is no stool in my bath tub. And take this out here. And do that. And, yeah. Now, watch this. It took a while, but I eventually beat Final Fantasy Type 0. Once. And while there are some problems with it, the main cast is the one thing about this great game about World Wars over 600 million that I love. Now I'm counting them all down to celebrate my first completion of the game. Now note, I'm only placing these characters on the list because of their playstyle, personality, and personal parable. Alright, let's get our game on.
Gone wandering souls, for your rest we pray. Let our humble song clear your hearts of dismay. Rekindle the flame in your souls and set you free. So walk on and become the light that guides the way.
I have a special message on my...
I really don't like playing as Deuce. Her character and story are plain too, but she's at the bottom because she fights by playing a flute. When she does play the flute, she starts strutting because she has to concentrate. The only redeeming factor is that when she plays the flute, a sprite appears and shoots these slow homing shots at enemies. Though she's the best mage in the party, and I only like using magic as a last resort to end fights quickly. Never mind that I leveled her up to level 42 by the end of the game, like all the other characters. She just doesn't click with me when playing as her. And the plain personality and story. Just give me something!
So walk on and become the light that guides the way.
I don't like having this character at this entry.
It's too late.
Everything about Queen is precision and accuracy. Though she kind of reminds me of Bayonetta, except less flashy. Don't get me wrong, she's still pretty, but more respectably pretty, which is why I hesitant to talk about her being this low, and now I'm getting off topic. When I say I prefer a guy who can take or dodge a hit while returning it as powerfully as possible, I mean it. Again, her personality is plain, but she does have more of an intelligent air about her, as she's the smartest girl among Class 0, on par with Trey as the smartest member of Class 0.
So walk on and become the light that guides the way.
7 may look menacing, but she's actually the class mother. Ironic, since she has this exact same weapon as Ivy Valentine. I kinda like her acrobatic style of fighting, but it's because she sometimes limits her range to violently mangle enemies that she's very low. Her personality and fighting style are in great sync, but considering they're both more straightforward than you might think, I don't like it very much.
So walk on and become the light that guides the way.
I think it's time to put a guy on this list, huh? Jack is by far the slowest character if you don't constantly use his dodge move to slide around. Yeah, he'd be higher for being a samurai if he moved more than a few feet per minute. Personality-wise, he's the most laid-back character in the roster. Being a samurai, I think he'd be a little more serious, especially since his fighting style is very serious. But no, it's like his personality was switched with 8.
So walk on and become the light that guides the way.
And now for the Grim Reaper herself. Listen, I like Sais. If this game were a harem anime, she'd be the tsundere. Her fighting style, though, it's just too realistic. Now, don't get me wrong, this game is freaking ridiculous, especially with the next century special moves. But she tries to stab her enemies with her scythe rather than slicing with it. And it works far more realistically than you'd think. Her special abilities are nice though.
So walk on and become the light that guides the way.
The rogue of the group and the boomerang wielder if you count her ability Dagger Boomerang. Remtokimia has an interesting story behind her. She has a deadly illness that will kill her by the end of the game. She'd of course rather be shot in the forehead than die peacefully in bed. With that, she should be number 1, right? Well, no. There are far better plays in the game and better playstyles to cover. She fights with twin daggers as long as her forearm, and this is incredibly awkward for me. If you play the game, you might think differently, especially if you think she's hot. But that will only go so far for me. She attacks by slicing and stabbing downward. Awkward for me.
So walk on and become the light that guides the way.
I don't really like pugilism in video games. Don't get me wrong, characters like Rule O'Brien from Tales of Symphonia are incredible at fighting with their fists and feet. But I don't like playing characters like 8 because of the disadvantage they put on themselves. That being said, 8 is still fun to play as, and his no-nonsense demeanor makes me think he should have been the samurai of the group instead of Jack. You expect him to be the cheery one, but he's not. He's basically a monk who forgoes weapons. That is awesome! Oh wait, he is a monk.